5 kilometers away from the little village that gave them their name, lie a series of rock-cut caves on the hills of the Maharashtra plateau. They have become famous throughout the world for their art and immortal culture. They are known to the world as the Ajanta caves. Carved out and sculpted by successive anonymous artists through the course of 7 centuries, the caves have been conjured up in homage to the spirit of Buddhism. The Ajanta caves, a legacy of nameless artists whose art is timeless. There are 29 Buddhist caves here, located in the Ajanta mountain range, which branches out of the Sahyadri mountain. The caves are on one side of a U-shaped ravine above the Vaghori river. The architects of these projects were so proficient that some of the caves they excavated reach almost 100 feet into the rock. The history of the paintings within the caves is long and event-filled, crossing time frames and lasting through many dynasties. The paintings were created by generations of artists working over a period spread over centuries. The cave numberings that we find today in Ajanta do not correspond to their chronological order. They have been numbered for convenience and also to suit their physical positioning. Thus, caves number 9 and 10 are the oldest. They were also the longest in the making, lasting 400 years from 200 BC to 200 AD, though the pillars in cave number 10 were only added around 350 AD or even later. The 6 caves that are numbered 4, 6, 11, 15, 16 and 17 were created between 350 and 500 AD. Interestingly, 1 and 2 are the youngest of these caves. They were completed in the years between 626 and 728 AD. The Ajanta caves are situated about 130 kilometers north of Paitan, which was the ancient Pratisthana, the capital of the early Satavahanas. They were quite close to an ancient arterial trade route that connected North India with Pratisthana in Dakshinapatha through Ujjain and Mahishmati. The interiors of these Buddhist caves were divided into the vihara, or living quarters, which were simple enough for the lives they led, and the Chaitya hall, or place of worship, majestic enough to house images and sculptures of deities they worshipped. The Chaitya halls were dedicated to Lord Buddha and were considered as the places of worship. These were large, rectangular chambers separated by rows of pillars into a central nave, surrounded by aisles on 3 sides for circumambulation during prayer. It also had a sanctuary opposite the entrance. As it was dedicated to Buddha, it included many sculptures and paintings that depict the different incarnations of the Bodhisattva. The viharas were used by the monks for meditation and the study of Buddhist teachings. These were rectangular-shaped halls with series of small cells attached on 2 sides. The side opposite the entrance contained an image of Buddha or a stupa. These Ajanta caves show a well-defined form of architecture, developed broadly in 2 phases. These 2 phases were the Thervada and the Mahayana phase. The Thervada phase included 2 Chaitya halls in cave number 9 and 10, and 4 Vihara halls in cave 8, 12, 13 and 15A. In the Mahayana phase are included 3 Chaitya halls in cave 19 and 26, and an incomplete Chaitya in cave 29, along with 11 wonderful Viharas in caves 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 11, 15, 17, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. An inscription on cave 26 describes the valley as it was then, echoing with the cries of birds and monkeys, a bygone era when the cave monastery itself was occupied by great ascetics. In cave 16, another inscription places the monks against the majesty of the mountains and the water-laden monsoon clouds that remained suspended over them. All these are unmistakable pointers to the reason behind the selection of the location of the Ajanta caves. their proximity to the trade routes, and the mystical, inspiring nature of their surroundings. The themes of the Ajanta murals are mostly concerned with incidents in the life of the Buddha. Along with scenes from the Jataka tales, there are also many secular paintings, scenes from court life and daily life. The paintings often run riot, consuming ceilings, pillars and walls of the caves. Besides scenes from the Buddha's life, they portray floral and animal motifs. There is an inscription in Cave 16 that describes a dwelling fully adorned with windows, doors, beautiful picture galleries, ledges, statues of the nymphs of Indra, and ornamented with beautiful pillars and stairs, and with the temple of the Buddha inside. The idea behind the Ajanta cave was to propagate the message of the Buddha and to describe his life for the benefit of future generations. There is no clear evidence as to when the monks moved away from the Ajanta caves. However, by the end of the 9th century AD, the monastery was no longer in use. And the Ajanta caves passed into oblivion till they were discovered centuries later. Partially covered by a green foliage of human neglect, the caves gave themselves up to the ravages of time and the elements. Their beautifully sculpted interiors, which had once echoed to the trance and whispered conversations of saintly monks, now lay damp and dejected, waiting for another lifetime, another blessing from the benevolence of sunlight and recognition. In 1819, John Smith and a group of British officers were out on an expedition on the hills of the Maharashtra plateau. Across a valley, they saw a line of rock, ridged with watercourses and protected by a lush green cover. Their curiosity was aroused. Little did they know that behind an innocent curtain of wild foliage lay a treasure beyond their wildest imagination. And thus began the resurrection and second life of the wondrous phenomenon known to the world as the Ajanta caves.